I'm Dave, and this is Austin's Kamado Joe Masterclass.
Most people pull beef back ribs off the smoker and wonder why they're tough. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it, step by step, so the next rack of ribs you cook comes off the grill so tender, so smoky, so big that you may never go back to pork ribs again. Stick around to the end because what I'm doing in the last 2 hours of this cook is the difference between good ribs and unforgettable ribs. Beef back ribs come from the prime rib section of the animal, right off the top of the rib cage, above the ribeye. That means there's not a ton of meat between the bones. What there is, though, is heavily marbled, intensely beefy, and when you cook it right, absolutely delicious. Today's cook is in 5 stages: prep, season, grill setup, smoke, and wrap. Each one matters. Let's get into it. The first thing we're doing is pulling the membrane. On the bone side of these ribs, there's a thin, silvery layer of connective tissue. Most people don't even know it's there, or they leave it because it's a bit difficult to remove. Here's the problem: that membrane doesn't break down. It doesn't render, it doesn't absorb smoke, it doesn't absorb rub. It acts like a plastic wrap baked right onto your ribs, and it blocks flavor from getting into the meat. There are people in the barbecue world who suggest leaving the membrane in place or the ribs will fall apart. That's true for the larger plate ribs, the diner ribs, the ones that have big pieces of meat attached to the other side of the bone. They will absolutely fall apart if cooked without the membrane. But that membrane is different. It's thicker and it's easy to identify and remove after cooking. But for these back ribs, pull it. Your smoke penetrates deeper, your rub sticks better, and your ribs come out more tender. Now here's where this gets easier than you might think. I'm using a rib membrane removal tool, 304 stainless steel, purpose-built for exactly this job. It's like a pair of pliers. Slide the tip right between the membrane and the bone and lift it up just enough to get a grip. You're going to have to work it in there. The membrane on these ribs is tougher than the one on baby back ribs. Just work the tool in and get a grip. Then lift and peel. If it tears, just do it again. I really like this particular membrane removal tool. The teeth hold on to the membrane and the handle is very easy to grip. I tried a different version of this tool when I last made baby back ribs, and I didn't like that one. It did not hold the membrane very well and the handle was very slippery. This tool, however, worked great. There was no wrestling with a butter knife or paper towels. If you don't have this tool, the link is in the description and the pinned comment. It was less than $20 and worth every penny. Now the ribs are ready for the rub. The rub is balanced with sweetness, salt, and heat. Here's what's in it: brown sugar, granulated sugar, kosher salt, chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, freshly ground black pepper, and a little bit of cayenne. The recipe is in the description. The brown sugar does 2 things. It brings sweetness and it builds bark. Apply the rub generously, both sides all the way to the edge. Press it in, don't just dust it on. You want it adhering to that meat before it goes in the Kamado Joe. Now it's time to load up the Kamado Joe with lump charcoal and fire it up. I've added a few chunks of hickory, not chips. Chunks burn longer and give you a longer, cleaner smoke output. We're targeting 250 degrees Fahrenheit, low and slow, indirect heat. Get your heat deflectors in place and set a water pan directly on top of them. The water pan is doing 2 things. It's creating a humid environment that keeps the surface of those ribs from drying out, and it's stabilizing temperature swings. The FireBoard is my co-pilot here. I always use my FireBoard for low and slow cooking. Connect the ambient probe to the grill, set it for 250, and trust it. The top is cracked, the bottom vent is covered by the fan. Watch my video on why you need a FireBoard. A link is in the description. The ribs go on bone side down. Close the lid, and now you wait. For the next 3 hours, your job is to mist those ribs every 30 minutes with a 50-50 mixture of water and apple juice. Do it quickly, then close the lid. At the 3-hour mark, those ribs are going to have a beautiful mahogany bark. You'll see the smoke rings starting to develop at the edge of the meat. They're not done, but they are ready for the next step. I'm going to wrap them in foil with a little liquid, but there's one thing to do first, and it matters. Beef tallow. Melted down, it's liquid gold. Take a brush and paint every surface of the ribs, top, bottom, and sides. The tallow is going to render into the bark, deepen the flavor, and keep the meat incredibly moist inside. This is the step that separates a good rack of ribs from a great one. Now onto the heavy-duty foil. Lay the ribs down and pour 6 ounces of your favorite beverage inside. Beer, beef broth, apple juice, whatever you love. The liquid becomes steam inside the packet and braises the meat from the inside out. That's what makes them tender. Seal the foil tight, double fold the edges. You don't want steam escaping from the packet. Then back in the Kamado Joe, bone side down, foil packet closed. 2 more hours at 250 degrees. Don't open it, don't check it, let the steam just do its job. At the 5-hour mark, remove the packet and place it in a disposable tray. There will be a lot of hot liquid when you open it. Let it rest 5 minutes, then peel back that foil. Cut between every bone. The bone should separate cleanly and easily. That is what 5 hours on a Kamado Joe looks like when every step is done correctly. Rich, smoky, tender all the way through. This is why beef back ribs deserve more respect than they get. Of course, the problem with making great barbecue is that now you need some terrific side dishes to go with it. I have 3 great ideas for you. First, how about some easy-to-make baked beans using canned Great Northern beans, smoky bacon, onion, brown sugar, molasses, and barbecue sauce. For something lighter, try this delicious Texas coleslaw, made with creamy horseradish, buttermilk, lime juice, and cilantro. And finally, what's a barbecue without cornbread? Here's a fantastic jalapeno cheddar cornbread that can be made in a cast iron skillet. It's loaded with cheddar cheese, fresh corn, and jalapenos. It's a great Texas twist on a classic. Recipes for all of these dishes can be found on my website. Links are in the description. I invite you to check out my Kamado Joe Owner's Handbook. This is a 100-plus page book that I've written that covers everything that you need to know about operating the Kamado Joe. It includes setup, seasoning, temperature control, troubleshooting, maintenance, and a lot of other pro tips and techniques. If you've made beef back ribs before, I want to know one thing. Did you use liquid with your wrap? And if so, what was it? Drop that in the comments. I read every one. Hey, if you liked the video, let me know and please subscribe and turn on notifications. I have new Kamado Joe content every week.